right, so where we were at was we got to our single-minded proposition and our mission, and then what I did was then fill out the bits in between, as well as, so I've done the, oh, actually I'll just go to it, I'm going to go to it.
Right, yeah. Oh, the window one, sorry. Oh, yeah, this one.
I did this on purpose so I can do this. Drop it down here so we can see that.
Nice, yeah.
Look at that, tech wizard this week. Tech wizard. All right, so yeah, so we did the vision and the SMP roughly last week, and then what I filled in. We did the mission as well. I think they were a bit of a mangle, but we did them. And then what I've done is I've filled out some values and some tone. They might not be bang on, but it's just like illustrative of what the words need to be, and you can craft those yourselves. I don't think. I mean, I could spend loads of time doing it, but actually that's kind of your call in the end. So do you want to, we'll go through each one. I'll take you through each one individually. So Jennifer, you are, your vision is fostering closer human connection. So that's your big thing that you want. So in 10 years time, if the human connection is better, then you've achieved your goal for your business and you. The mission is bringing people together through wholesome social bread breaking experiences. So that's what you do daily, or that's what your company does. So you're just like, that's the thing we talked about, and that's got the traditional thing in it, a little bit about the bread breaking language. Your values are tradition, craftswomanship, relationships, and family. So these are like, you can change these, but they're like the things that you stand for. So these are like things that you protect, and you will talk about these things because they're important to you. And then the tone of voice. So those are the things that you talk about. The tone is the language you use. And this, I mean, this is pretty brief to be fair, but you'd normally probably have these 4 or 5 laid out, and then underneath you'd have a little paragraph. But it's just your language is warm, you're open, you're kind, and you're a little bit old-fashioned. So that's just the tone in which you when you communicate, you speak that way. And then your single-minded proposition, which I've crafted again, like, you know what, you can change all these, but this is where we got to, is nourishing togetherness with traditional fresh food. So that's what you do. Does that make sense? I mean, they all get a bit overlapped and tied together, but they're all really important when we come to the next step.
Yes, yeah, it does make sense. Yeah. That looks good.
And that's like that's your flag, I guess, that you can just everything you do has to adhere to these rules as a business, and your communication and your products all adhere to the same rules.
So for everyone, like when we go through this today, like what's on there is where we got to. It's obviously in about 1/10 of the time we normally take with the client, so like they can still use some refinement with you guys, so feel free to do that. But I think the piece that just to know is Nate's going to take you through how we use this in this session today. So you'll have all these questions like, what does this mean, what is it, as it's going through, how do I use this tone, and what we're going to get there. It's going to be today. That's what today's about. So because when I read this, when he first showed me, it's like my first question was like, so what do I do with it? You know, but he's got that. He's got it in there, so don't stress. You're going to get shown how to use all this stuff.
Oh.
Cool.
Thank you.
Awesome, Nate. Looks awesome, bro.
Thanks, bro. Rowan, you're up. So your vision is to enrich culture through creativity and technology. So that's your big play for the future. That's where you want the world to be. Your mission is breaking into the new with the old. That's what you do. That's what you do daily or weekly or whatever that smaller time frame is. Your values are authenticity, disruption, experimentation, and culture. Like you care about those 4 things, and that's the things that you'll talk about. And your tone of voice when you talk about those is bright, passionate, lively, and rebellious. So I didn't want to go too like shouty and nasty, because you could do it in a negative way and be really against stuff, but I think you need to be positive in doing that, I think. And then your SMP is what we talked about last week. Without art, everything turns to shit. So that's like your single-minded proposition that you talk to people. Like that's why you exist and what your communications need to talk to. Cool. Please, I mean, feel free to feedback.
No, I think it's. I'm not sure if you can hear me. As usual, It doesn't work. You got me this time. Okay. It seems good. Creativity. I think creativity.
Yeah. When you're valued.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't got anything straight up. I just think it's cool. Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Sweet. Kylie's not here. Should we just go through his anyway?
Yeah, go through this because he'll watch.
Yeah, so his vision is to heal his people. What he does is Māori experiences that educate, heal and connect. His values are kindness, restoration, learning, integrity and community. His tone is candid, friendly, caring and open. And his SMP is cultivate open communication. This one I still need a second part to this. I haven't got to that yet. This was a tricky one. So there needs to be an extra bit of that. So culting open community, what?
I just realised commutation.
I'm dyslexic, bro. That's HR. bullying. Sorry, I am dyslexic.
Sorry, that's my fault. Okay.
And then so that needs to be cultivate open connection, and then I think that needs to have an against, like an enemy, but I haven't quite managed to get that yet. I had a few different ones, but they weren't right, so I left it out. Sorry, Kylie. Tonga, your vision is fighting design mediocrity. Oh, what? Next one. Oh, I missed one. Sorry, Nick and Dave, you got missed. Okay, your vision is to build cool tech, not unlike ours, which is do cool shit. Your mission is provide the know-how, tech and the tools that enable creators to succeed. So that's what you do. Your values are creativity, teamwork, knowledge and support. And your tone is helpful, knowledgeable, straightforward and understanding. And your SMP is unlock your creative potential. So that's what you're saying to your audience. We will unlock your creative potential.
Cool.
Tonga, your vision is to fight design mediocrity. Your mission is turning non-designer dreams into design reality. Your values are creativity, experimentation, imagination and change. And your tone is fun, open and creative. And your SMP is turn bad spaces into fucking awesome ones, which is possibly, aside from Romans, my probably two favourite SMPs of the year. Anything with swearing in it at this point is good. Yeah.
And remember, even if you don't like swearing, like this isn't all these things that we have don't have. None of this is technically customer facing either. It can be, but it's not necessarily customer facing.
Yeah, the point of this, it leads you to the customer facing stuff. So you can use as much of it as you want, but it just gets you to understand what the thing is you're trying to say to your customer. Barons, the Barons. Your vision is to be the most adventurous brand in the world. Your mission is an expedition of global taste discovery. Your values are curiosity, flavours, pizzazz and freedom. Your tone is creative, wise and passionate. I love the word pizzazz. Don't never get to use it.
I just said that.
Pizzas. Yeah, your values are curiosity, flavours, pizzas and freedom. And your tone is creative, wise and passionate, and your SMP is the chocolate alchemists. And then Rod is, your vision is protect your people. Your mission is empowerment through physical movement and education. Your values are community, safety, integrity and well-being. Your tone is knowledgeable, straight up and energetic. And your SMP is the protector of potential. Yeah. Does that all make, like, I know it doesn't make sense because it's waffle, it's marketing waffle, but it's important marketing waffle. So the point now is to then take you through how we use, we've got examples of how we've done this with other brands, how we use that to then get to work and customer facing communication. And then we're going to do that as an exercise between us to get us all to have our starts at what we call the campaign layer.
Has anyone got like any feedback, any adverse reactions to what's in there, or thoughts, feelings? Does anyone want to go through theirs now that they've had a little time to see everyone's?
I like mine. Mine's cool.
There's some cool S&Ps in there.
Yeah. I wish mine had swearing, but we're not going to.
You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
I'm not allowed.
You're not allowed. Your audience won't allow it.
Just put the F word in one. Mine's the protector of.
That's right,
potential.
Yeah. I think you're the fucking protector though.
Yeah, the fucking protector.
The fucking protector of potential. Yeah. And like Stan said, these aren't things that you traditionally put in front of customers. It's just your internal, like, guiding light, I guess.
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
can. I mean, you can.
It's the ingredients of what
Yeah.
the rest will come out of. So
Yeah.
you can use it. We use some of ours in our communication.
How do I get the chat up?
It's on Teams. You gotta hit chat at the top there.
Where is it? I can't read. That one?
You have said that the SMP
would be something that goes on a billboard.
It can.
It
can.
It can.
It can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yours can. The Chocolate Alchemist can easily be an end line.
Yeah.
We're not quite gelling with Chocolate Alchemist,
Okay.
but I feel like we'll land somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not the same.
As a tagline, Chocolate Alchemist, we could, like, from a slogan tagline as part of campaign, you can turn Chocolate Alchemist into the tagline, the billboards, the things like that. But
Let's talk about it though, because it's good for the group to talk about that. Where are you at with it? Like, when you say you're not gelling, what does that mean?
Just feel like it's a bit dry, or not sure if it quite describes our single-minded purpose. Yeah.
Not quite enough pizzazz.
Okay. Yeah.
Not enough freedom.
Not. I want more freedoms.
what do you think it? How do you think it restricts you?
I don't know, it just sounds a little bit. It just sounds a bit serious, I guess, in my mind. Maybe that's just my mind.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's interesting, because alchemy is like.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of seriousness, because it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not my. Maybe I just heard that word too much, or it just doesn't land for me especially well. But I mean, obviously, I'm not our target market as well, so it's always being aware of that.
But it's got to work for you, so it's a good conversation.
Yeah, it's a really good conversation to have. Yeah.
Okay, so when you think it's too serious, like, do you think the meaning of, or like what it stands for is right, or do you think the meaning of it's too serious, or just the word itself's too serious?
No, I think the meaning. I think that the direction of the direction of that word is heading in the right way, the right space. But maybe we need to find a word that's kind of.
Is it that the alchemist words is not wrong? It's just the chocolate bit is just a bit prescriptive. Maybe it's like the nut.
Yeah, well, maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it just doesn't need.
If we put nutty or pizzazz, or the nutbag alchemist or something like that becomes much more crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that right word, but does that then make it?
Yeah, I think maybe you're right. Maybe it's more the chocolate rather than the alchemist.
Yeah.
Two of course, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of when you think of all the like stuff that you make? What do you call it? Like, what do you call that grouping of? Is it sweets? Is it because like for instance, you had brittle in there, so that's not, you're not going to call brittle chocolate, are you? So like, what do you call the collection of products you make? Is instead of chocolate, what is there a word for that? It's like.
Sometimes we say confection, but I guess that sort of might give people the wrong idea. People might think more sort of boiled sweets and this kind of stuff rather than chocolate. Because we do sort of make a little bit of a mixture. I mean, our main, like 95% of what we do is chocolate.
Is that going to be? Are you planning on expanding on that at some point?
No, I think chocolate will always be our main focus for sure. Yeah. Because I guess it's more sort of flavour alchemy,
Which we have had before.
where our main thing we work with is chocolate. But
I'm not in any way. I kind of agree. I see what you're saying. I totally see what you're saying. It's difficult. It's the hardest when you're really close to it, though, to remember that the audience isn't. They don't have no idea.
yeah, totally. And I always remind myself of that,
Yeah, I think for me, it's if we change the words, or if we made it longer and changed the word chocolates, it might be closer to what you are. I think that's.
But then harder to understand.
Yeah, but you could add words. It's not like thingy. But again, you can remember this doesn't have to be an end line on a poster.
Yeah, we can use this to develop out the campaign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone else? What does everyone else think?
I think when you say flavour alchemists, I'm thinking of all sorts of other variation, like beer brewing and wine and it feels like I don't know what it is.
Too broad, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
We'll sit with,
conviction is funny.
is it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Is it the
nothing else?
Yeah.
is it the and I don't know whether word to explain you without offending you, the like the insanity of it or the madness of it, is that what's missing? Not that you're insane, but there's a certain thing about you that is a bit like off the hook.
Yeah, that video that you sent, like
It's very different.
the craziness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit weird. And you can't insult us, don't worry.
Oh, okay. Oh well.
Well, you can give it a shot.
There is that nutbag element to it that I think that's missing probably. That maybe is the thing that you're.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
Because that differentiates you. Because none of everyone else is quite staid and conservative around chocolate. I think.
Yeah.
Which is your difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I will do more homework for you on that, just because I feel like I've let you down. I've let my school down. I've let my friends down. But most of all, I've let myself down.
No, I think it's all good, and I think now that we've got that, it's going to help. Once we go through campaign, it'll come out anyway.
Yeah,
It often happens with us. Like,
true.
the S&P will slowly develop because the campaign idea really brings it to life. And so I think what we'll do is we go through campaign, and then that will, as we get through that the next couple of weeks, the campaign's a big heavy piece now to get this right, and then that will may give us the words we need for this. To then, you might come up with a tagline, and we'll just swap out S&P for the tagline because it's still going to have the same meaning.
Yeah.
It's just going to be the different words.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's good feedback though.
Yeah, no, it's really good feedback. Yeah, and I think it's always worth. I mean, because it is everything I do is subjective completely. So
Yeah.
I cannot be good at it. I can just have experience. So it's always worth challenging because it is what it is. I don't do brain surgery. There is no right and wrong. So
Yeah.
cool. All right. So then, on that note, the next bit is again me trying to explain to you how I do my job, which is going to be hard for you to understand and probably do. Because if you tried to explain to me how to do your job in 10 minutes, I probably would fail. So this is going to be we're going to have to do this very shared, I think, because otherwise it's going to. If I explained to you how to do my job and sent you off to do my job for half an hour and then judged you on it would be awful. So I think we're going to have to work as a team to try and get through this next part and try and understand what you need to do to get to your thinking. Okay, so this is an example. I'm just going to take you through an example of a client we're working with at the moment, which I'm doing this for. The client Zeal. Do you all know Zeal? So Zeal is a business that has a recruit, basically would you call it recruitment? As a job board, but they came out with a Tinder version. So it's literally visual. You swipe left or right for your jobs you want to do. So it's a really smart idea. But they came out and did the classic thing where they didn't tell anyone. They just came out and started to do this quite complex communication. They didn't realise or didn't think, because they were so close to the brand, that no one had a fucking clue what they did or what they stood for or anything. So they were struggling a little bit, and they were trying to do all these clever things, but no one actually understood where the clever things were coming from. So they didn't land at all because they weren't really clear about what they did. So they came to us. We're going to do initially social media stuff for them, but I think that we'll expand on that. And they came to us to do the same process, to go, what the fuck do we stand for? Who are we? And then what work we're going to do. So this is where their single-minded proposition landed, which is the savvy career company for the life you deserve to lead. And the reason we got there was because the thing they have above all the other ones is that they're the tech company, and the audience that they're going for, which is probably 25 to 30-year-olds, are in that mindset that technology is important to them. They trust companies that use technology. Most of the brands that they've grown up with have the cool brands like Nike, etc., have some kind of technology part to them. So that's Seek and Trade Me felt a bit dinosaur-y and a bit like older. So the point of this was, we'll get to a place where we can pitch you as being tech savvy, because the audience that you're going for will appreciate that over the shitty experiences that they have on other platforms. And then the life you deserve to lead was a thing around why do people want to go work somewhere else? What is the thing? It's not just because they want another job. It's because they want more money, or they want like a better environment to work in, and those things are actually deeper than just that. They're because I want my life to be better. And also, like you talk to anyone pretty much anyone in any age range, offering them a slightly better life is a bigger idea than just change your job. Right, it's that whole like forward, like I'm thinking about bigger things than just changing jobs. And changing jobs is a bit dull, like to communicate. So that's where we got to. So this has got what they do and what the benefit is to you. Does that make sense? So why are they the Savvy Career Company for a life you deserve to lead? The platform is savvy and smart. It's new. No one else is doing it. It's not like a thing that you get on Trade Me or Seek. They're just shitty job boards, and they're really annoying. The product offers you intelligent opportunities. So it's more of a matchmaker than like if you go to Trade Me, you search up, I want to be a builder. They'll just fucking tons of things that aren't being a builder. They're just random. Whereas this is much more matchmaking. So it's intelligent. And then the benefit is that you have a smarter life, like a smarter way of living, because you've got more cash, or you've got more time at home, or all of these things. So that's why they're the Savvy Career Company, and why they give you the life you deserve to lead. And so then we looked at like, what is the thing that makes people move? What's the opposite of the life you want to lead? And that's dissatisfaction. So the people that we're talking to, if we're for a better life, then the enemy of that is dissatisfaction. So what can we do to just demonstrate the dissatisfaction, and how does our innovation solve that problem? Yeah, when we talk about our innovation, it needs to be relatable, it needs to display the benefit, and it needs to be emotional for people to listen. And the previous stuff they had wasn't doing any of that. The previous stuff they were doing was just really random. It didn't really tell me what they did. It wasn't relatable because it didn't make sense, and there was no emotion in it. It was really just really dry. And in the world that we're talking to, like those kids, or well, I call them kids, they're 30. Shut up, I'm a boomer. They want the emotional connection to stuff. Like they want to feel that it's relatable to them. They feel it, and there's a benefit to them. So that's why we looked at that. And then so this is a really wanky way to say what we're going to do. So we're going to positively amplify dissatisfaction amongst the audience. We're not going to tell them that their lives are shit. We're going to go, here's a better thing. Here's some better stuff. Here's something that's more interesting for you. And that's basically the strategy for the communication. Is like we're going to show these people how that the situation they are in could be better through going to Zeal and getting and finding another position. And that came to this little line, which isn't their end line, but it's just for this piece, which is there's more to work life, right? So that's the thing that tells me that there's more than the dissatisfaction that I've got. There's more to my work life. So we're not using taglines because we're on social, but that could be a tagline on a poster, right? Because that displays all the things. Like it's telling me there's more, and it's telling me that these people care about both my job and my life, and that's important to me. So then we looked at in that area, there are three main things that people talk about when it comes to your job. It's what you do, where you work, and how much do you earn. They're the most interesting things in a conversation about what jobs, pretty much, and they're the conversations that people will have around jobs. Of those, this is the key. This is really important because that's the most interesting part of that conversation, right? People desperate to know how much people earn, or they're really curious about how much people earn and what they do. So those three things lead to satisfaction, but the salary one is always going to be part of the conversation. So we've got then two areas that we can explore. One is what do you do? And then the other one is what environment do you work in? So the salary, and they're always linked to the salary. We always talk to the salary because that's the thing that's going to spur the interest in this, because that's really fucking fascinating for people around that age. How much do you earn? I want to earn more money. So what do you do? Where do you work? How much do you earn? Is the conversation. And then these are the things that we play off: curiosity, bias, and envy. And those are, like the bias one is a little bit of a random one in here, but the curiosity is I'm really interested. The bias one is the assumptions that we make around what people earn and what they do. it's a really rich area, right? Because for instance, if we showed a picture of Stan's mum to the client, and I asked the question, what does she do? And that varied between being retired, being a bank, like an investment person with a portfolio of property, to like a cleaner. Because they had no idea. And that's really, again, fascinating for an audience to go to challenge something that's innate, like a bias. And then we asked them, how much does she earn? And that varied from 500 grand a year to 50, right? And that's a really quite a crucial thing for us to have that, because that's really relatable and something that I do. So curiosity is relatable because I am curious. Bias is relatable because I am biased. I don't like to think I am, but I am. And then the envy thing is obvious, right? I want better, I want more, I'm envious of these positions. And that's the process we went through from the single-minded proposition to get to the outputs. So there we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. There was 8 different ideas came from that, all around that single thing. Please stop me or make me slow down if I'm going too fast or you don't understand. And I'll just run you through a few of those. So, you what? A question?
Your hand. No, I'm not doing
Is it me?
that. On the bottom right corner of the screen, main screen.
That one?
No, what's that?
Oh, that's just from
Oh,
that was
fuck,
just. I put some emojis.
I thought somehow someone put a hand up.
No.
It just
That was
popped
just-
up and I was
you-
like, oh, someone's hand.
In the top part of the presentation, there were emojis, so I left a few and just thought them in to make it interesting.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the first territory is we're talking around the environment. So the first idea is we're going to do tours of the best office spaces in New Zealand, best design, best facilities, average salary, perks and benefits. So the audience are going to be interested in seeing that, and it's going to make them think about the position they're in, which is reinforcing the dissatisfaction. Through the Keyhole is, I don't know if anyone's from the UK, from the 70s and 80s, but there was a really good TV show where a person would go into someone's house and then walk around and go, who lives in a house like this? And they'd give clues. Same thing. So who works in this office? And it would be a cool office with lots of toys and fun stuff. Again, it's just that dissatisfaction that we're trying to evoke. And then salary spaces is the money conversation. How much does someone who works in this space earn? Again, it's the curiosity and the envy and the bias is all within that. Does that make sense? And then I mean, there's more, but I'll go through.
Yeah,
Go through. Yeah. And then the second one is the job. So what do you actually do? So this is just that idea of when you ask someone what they do, they tell you what they do, but they don't really tell you what they do. And we want
job title.
Yeah, they tell you what the job title is, and then we go, no, but actually, what do you do? And then they'll tell you a little bit more, and it'll actually get down to the fact that they just type, or they just, like there's real basic shit that everyone does,
Yeah.
but they get paid this much money for that, and that's something again that evokes that what the fuck? I want that much money for doing fuck all.
They're a global solution lead. What
Yeah.
the fuck does a global solution lead do? You lead the earth.
Yeah.
But what do you do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. How much do they earn again? So this is the bias thing that I talked about. We had a picture of someone and we asked people how much they earn, and then we take a picture of them and we show it to someone else and we ask how much they earn. And that again is that, like the example I gave of Stan's mum, people are just like, their biases come out real quick, and people love watching that shit. Like people love watching people fail and bias. And then job titles, which Stan just said, like, can you guess what this person does from their job title, which would be global head of innovation or whatever? Do you know what they do? So from the picture, what does this person do? Which is the example I gave for Stan's mum. And then how much does this dumb job title earn? So again, like that's just playing off those stupid job titles that people have, and we're just exposing how much that earns. And there was more, but that just, the thing here was to centre around that single-minded proposition and create creative outputs that then could be turned into social media video, effectively, for the client.
Does that make sense?
Does that all make sense?
Do you want to go through that for a little bit and just like unpack it with you guys? Like how we went from single-minded proposition through to actually like this a content series?
Yes, that would be good.
Yeah, where's our questions? Like let's like maybe go back
Swap
up. Go back up. Where
If you go back up to slide 15 or 17, whatever, so I can see those job, environment, salary. So you've just taken kind of those three things and just kind of built off of it. So jobs are like just showcasing the different jobs that people have, and then the environments. Okay, now I'm coming back to it. Environments are just the different workplaces.
Yeah, I mean, it's
salaries, and then you're kind of turning it into just an interactive way for people to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I look at it is if you're going to engage in a conversation with an audience about a topic, what are the top 3 things that audience, what are the pertinent things about that conversation that's going to be interesting and relatable to people, right? So the conversation, we're starting a conversation with someone about employment. What are the things that they're interested in around employment? I mean, they're pretty obvious. It's not rocket science, but there's your jump off points, because that's how you're going to talk to them. Without those topics of conversation, you're just going to go blah, 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 right? You need to, it's like when you go for an interview, you prepare yourself a little bit and you research a little bit, and that's what we're doing here. We understand our audience enough to know that these are going to be interesting things that we can play off, that they're going to have some investment in.
Right. So then I guess you're kind of, but you're going back, you're building off of almost like the most, the questions you get asked the most, I guess.
Yeah.
That pertain to that.
It's like if you're at a barbecue. If you're at a barbecue and you talk about work, then people are going to say, "What do you do? Where do you work?" And they don't say this because it's New Zealand, but they would say they would be really interested in how much you earn.
Yeah.
And that's again like it's actually a really logical process. Like, people pretend that being creative is like, and especially within agencies, is magic, but it's not. It's just logic.
For me, when I look at it, like, because I'm the same, like, because I don't have this creative background like Nate, so like for him it's I've learned to the way he does it, because like obviously we work from every day, but like at first it wasn't, in my head it wasn't logical, but then now it is, because he's taught me what it means to be this thing. But like, it's gone from this, like, the way it connects in my head now with this one, which I really like Zeal's one, is that if this is a single-minded proposition, which is really for the life you deserve to lead is really their single-minded proposition, is what it is. They are the Savvy Career Company, but it's for the life you deserve to lead, right? And so if you think about that sentence for a second as a thing, there's a lot to that. There's a lot to unpack, right? Like, there's so many factors that give you the life that you deserve to lead. And then in this instance, Zeal provides the ability to give you the job part of your life that you deserve to lead, right? So we've gone this for the life you deserve to lead, which is real broad, real big, real ambitious, real, and then, but then it's like, well, Zeal can't make you a better mother necessarily, like, it's not going to help you do that. So it's like, then the guys had to be like, well, okay, so let's take it down a step and then get it into the place that is Zeal can help with. Yeah. And so it talks about the things that they can do. So these are the ways that we can do it, which is what I was just saying. So it's like, well, this is how Zeal helps. And then from all of that, they've gone, okay, well, the thing that is important about jobs is that in people changing jobs is dissatisfaction. People only change jobs when they're dissatisfied. And then there are reasons for why they're dissatisfied. Well, first of all, we said we don't want to talk tone. We don't want to be negative. We want to be positive. So we decided to make sure our tone was there. And then we decided that, okay, what are the things that dissatisfy people about their jobs? So we just kept asking, like, why, essentially. So we got to job, environment, salary. And when I say we, I didn't do it. Nate did it. But I'll take credit. It's in my bank balance. So job, environment, salary.
I'm leaving. I'm dissatisfied with my
job. So we got to these things, right? And we said, well, actually, one. We said of those 3 things, well, actually, the salary one is the most antagonizing. Like, people don't often leave for more money, but they think they do. Like, people mostly leave for people or environment, actually, and stuff like that. But actually, they think it's the money, and then there's a lot of, like, emotion around money. And we already talked that emotion was necessary. People think, oh, fuck, how do they get paid 50 grand more than me? I want more money, but I deserve more, I do better. But it's not really why people take and leave jobs. It's like a very small percentage of people who go after money, but it's a good one to get clickbait on from a campaign level. And so then the job and environment become the stories you tell using salary as the clickbait, as the hook. And then then they just came up with some questions around, like, well, what are the questions about those 3 places? Like, well, if,
It's the barbecue conversation.
It's the barbecue conversations, exactly. And then, as we said, the curiosity, we need these are the feelings and emotions we need from that. And then that's from that. So now we're going, all right, I need to inquire about people's, like, job and their environment. I need to find content that will talk about a job that someone does and an environment they work in, whilst also bringing in the salary conversation at some point. So that's our starting point. So now we sit in a room and we start brainstorming ways of talking about someone's job and what they do, whilst also talking about how much they earn. And so now we've got a place to brainstorm for content ideas. And so and then you can see how that ladders all the way back up to your single-minded proposition stool. So now any idea that talks about the job that I do or the environment that I work in, plus how much I earn or how much people could earn, ladders up to the single-minded proposition. So it makes sense. And as long as we're talking about those ways with a positive tone, we're not saying you're shit because you only earn 40 grand and not 60 grand. As long as we're not doing that and we're keeping to the tone, then our single-minded proposition works. Make sense? So, hey guys. So that's like, for me, that's kind of how, like, it is logical once you, like, Nate is 100%, like, it's logical when you get the process. And it took me a little while as a business owner to get like how he thinks logically, because I think numbers, he thinks creative world. But you can see now, like, these ideas, they all just ladder up. And that's essentially what we've got to do now with all your single-minded propositions, is keep asking those whys, breaking down until we get this point of going, okay, now we've got a leaping off point for ideation for content.
Yeah.
And the best thing about these ideas that I like so much is that they're infinite. You'd never have to stop them. You could just pick one of these and do it forever. You could just do the office tours and just keep going forever. Like, by the time you get through all the offices in New Zealand, the first ones you went through aren't there anymore, and then new people in them, and you start again.
And then you go to New York, because it doesn't actually matter where the office is. Yeah. I'm trying to evoke this emotion of I want to work in a better office. That's all I'm trying to do. So that office could be in London, New York, anyway. It's just, you can go anywhere. Yeah. Just for the record, I've never had someone explain to me how I do my job better than he just did. I can't even explain it myself.
Yeah, I've had to look because I didn't know what he was doing. I just paid him all his money. No, but it's good. So does that make sense? Because I think you hear it from two different sides. Because we kind of speak the same thing from different languages.
Yeah. I know that helps, hearing both of you speak about it.
Guys, I also just want to sense check that obviously the setting the foundation of this is based on like the information that you have on hand right now. The purpose of this is that you establish a foundation to actually do the work, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it must be set in stone. So for example, like for us as a technology company, I mean, we can use last year as an example. Like as a business, we had to pivot a dev multiple times throughout last year. Just based on the tech landscape, the competitive landscape, on positionings. So what I'm also wanting to understand is like, do we need to spend time thinking about like setting a foundation where it allows us to kind of change and pivot on those, if I can call it those pillars that you're referring to there, guys? Or is it something that you go through the process now, you make a call, and then, for example, in 3 months' time or in 6 months' time, if there's been like a fundamental shift within the tech, within our tech landscape, that we then just redo the process again? Just an ask around that.
Yeah, that's a good question, but the key is if it is a fundamental business shift that you're no longer serving the same clients with the same product, then you got a different business.
Yes, you got a different business.
You got to do it, right? But if you're still building cool tech, then no. If you're still unlocking creative potential, then no, don't change it. You might change the campaign. So that campaign that we've done for Zeal, which is the final piece, which is like we're gonna, let's say the office tours, right? That's the campaign that we're gonna do the office tours. That will change. That can change. I mean, it can change a lot, or it can last a long time. It depends. It depends on the campaign and money and whatnot. But like, if you guys aren't building cool tech to unlock creative potential anymore, then then of course. Yeah. But that's why you get this level of SMP and not like a very specific thing.
So I think in terms of vision, like build cool tech, we definitely want to continue building cool tech. And I think in terms of the SMP unlocking creative potential, I think that makes sense in terms of like, we don't necessarily want to deviate around that. But for example, you've answered the question in terms of like maybe adjusting the at a campaign level to adjust and correct. But cool, thank you for clarifying.
Good, that's a good question. Eh?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Yeah. And that's the only time, like Nike has never changed their thing because they don't need to, because they just do shoes, they do athletes. You know, like whereas if they suddenly decided that they were going to build houses, then they'd have to change it because it wouldn't make any sense anymore. And that's the only time you'd change this, really. I mean, you can tinker it, but you wouldn't really want to change it because it's just like this. This isn't built on. It's kind of not built on what you do. It's the reasons you do it, right? It's the drivers for it rather than the actual product. The product and there's the campaign level is what when you talk about what the different things that you actually do. But this is the reason you do it, and therefore the reason that I, as a consumer, believe that you're the right person for me, or the right product for me, or the right service for me, because it's your drivers, and that's the key here. It's because that's a much more emotional thing than we make sausages. You know, like I want to know as a person, why the fuck do you make sausages? Why are your sausages better?
Okay, cool. Yeah, that really helps. I think just adding the context on the why there around, like, you know, we're always going to want to get out of bed in the morning because we want to build cool tech. Like that's the vision. You know, whatever the tech is, we're going to get out of bed in the morning because we want to build cool tech. And of course, as well, then on the creative potential on the SMP, like we want to build cool tech to unlock that creative potential, to, you know, excite and delight people. Cool.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Thanks, guys.
Do you want to go through your two examples?
Yeah.
So there's two more, and then I'm going to talk to you about how we go from how we get to the enemy, which is for me always been really key. I'm just going to nip to Ludo in the meantime.
I have no clue how to use the Mac.
What do you need to do?
Where's my mouse?
It's up from the screen. If you push up, it'll go up there.
There we go. Look at that. That's
just
a bit fancy. Yeah, I'm gonna try and make this work. All right, so you know what? While he's not here, and I can
You can diss me.
I can talk shit about him. Yeah. I can't do it. I really hate how like Mac users don't full screen stuff. There we go. Fuck, look at that. Holy fucking shit, we got a full screen.
Okay, I want to talk about two examples that I think have very good campaign strategies. And so you can give some ideas of what we mean when we think of campaign. So, does everyone know the brand You Know? Or should I ask, does anyone not know that? Cool, some people don't know. Good. So, You Know is a clothing brand from New Zealand. They make streetwear clothing. It's owned by a guy called Joe Webb. They've done really well. They've been around for a few years now. They've got Stan Walker, the singer, as a creative director to help with some of the clothing designs and things like that. And they've really built out a really cool brand. They're very popular with like the way they do pop-ups and things like that. And they've built like seriously quite a large brand that's doing really well. Like they do all the merch now for $6.60. Like they're doing some cool shit. But one of the reasons for their success is that they start of last year they came up with a campaign, which is so they knew all their single-minded propositions and stuff, and I'm not going to pretend I know what they are because they're not our client. I just think they're a great example. But they've had all that, and then they've developed a campaign, and that campaign was Morning Shift. And so the Morning Shift, you might have seen, the Morning Shift are essentially a drive time radio show, but they're not on radio. They're on socials and on Spotify. And so they essentially record like this. They do it each night. They like record the show, they put it up on Spotify, and then they clip out short little clips and put it up on social media. This is an old picture. They're at 1 million pretty much now on TikTok. They're at like a few 100,000 on Instagram. Their Shifters private Facebook group is, I think it's well over 50k now, and they've built this like they've built this like massive brand called the Morning Shift, which seems kind of weird because they actually don't really talk about You Know. The only real reference they've got into it is on the Morning Shift's TikTok page. You can see powered by You Know Media. But what they said is like, well, no one really cares about looking at fancy clothes, like posts and shit like that. Like no one really cares to look, oh, here's my new jumper. Yeah, here's the new hoodie we've got. it's only got like there's only so much you can do with that sort of clothing brand content. They wanted and they've done all right. Like they got 95 on Instagram on their but what they decided is like, well, what can we do as entertaining? What's a campaign that we can go out with that brings in a massive audience? So they create the morning shift. Now, if you watch the morning shift, the guys only wear clothing. So now they've just built these 2 celebrity radio show guys, well actually 3 because they got the guy who produces it, Mark, as well, who everyone now loves. Millions of people watch them every day wearing clothing. So they've essentially created their own sponsored athletes. But they've done it based on a conversation that their demographic who wear streetwear style clothing would listen to. Right? The conversations and the topics they have are things that people who would typically wear streetwear, their demographic would listen to. And like Jordan's from MyFM, right? Like he's ex MyFM. Like it's that crew. Like it's like urban outfit wears and stuff like that, right? So they're real smart. So they took the single-minded proposition and created a campaign that isn't even them. Like it's not even but it's blowing up their brand. It's the reason they got the 660 deal, because 660 was watching Morning Shift and they used Morning Shift as a way to do pre-sale tickets. And then from those, while they did that, they were like, well, we may as well do a merch drop together as well. And then that's sold out. And then they've just dropped the Australian Tour 1 and that's selling out as well. So you can see, like, when it comes to campaign, like, I should like to share this example because, like, it doesn't have to be the Wee Smokehouse profile that is the thing that drives all the sales to the Wee Smokehouse.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
It's interesting because I didn't know about clothing, but I follow the morning shift on TikTok. So when I saw those guys, I was like,
Yeah. So you got people from all walks of life watching this stuff, and then those who are curious about their clothing, who like their clothing, they're more likely to go and buy it. And a lot of people go, oh wow, like they might hear what you just said, Jennifer. Well, yeah, look, you got all these people, but they don't care about the clothing, and that's true. And you're going to get like 90%, or maybe not 90, but a big portion of the people won't care about the clothing. But to get to the 30% of the audience that does, you had to get the whole million. Like you can't get the 300,000 people who do if you don't have the million. So you have to get everyone to get that small percentage of people who do want it. And so we're the same. Like if you get a lot of you seen our TikTok. We got almost 800,000 on TikTok, 200,000 on Instagram. Majority of those people aren't going to be our clients. Like majority. Otherwise, there'd be 500 people in this cohort right now. Like it's not how it works. But to find the 7 people who are in this cohort, we have to have over 1 million people watch our content. All right. I think when we put out my couple videos on cohort, we got like 30 people interested in total in the initial run. From 1 million people, or actually over our audiences, like 2.5 million people in our audiences and all the channels that we got. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's a really smart thing where you can go, well, actually, what is there like something else we can create that attracts everyone in as a massive audience? And it doesn't have to be a separate brand, but just like thinking of it like the way these guys did. Okay. So any questions about that and like what they've done? Like is there anything in there that's confused you, or you got any inversions to it or anything?
No.
It makes sense, like build a big separate brand that drives most people in and then siphon them into the way that where you want them to go?
Yeah.
Cool.
Stan, before we actually joined the cohort, Dave and I were actually discussing the idea of how do we actually use like an ambassador. So like again, like Dave and I are not really sexy on social media, but like is there someone that we could actually use that's doing the thing every single day that can actually tell our story a lot better, and not necessarily like wants to be like, hey, I'm using VidApp, this is a VidApp app kind of thing, but it's like at strategic points through that story or that journey that they're like, hey, cool, like this is the technology that I'm using and it's really cool and it's helping me win in these areas kind of thing.
It's funny you say that, Nick, because our next example, Hairification, this is a brand that is growth shampoo for women who have damaged hair and things like that. And the founder of this is a big white man who has great hair, and he is never going to be able to showcase this product or what it does. So we managed to find Aspen, who has amazing hair and just so happened to be a UGC creator, so she'd already been making content and she was using the product. So she used the product, she had great hair because of the product, and we decided to build a campaign around her where she was now the face of hairification. And because she's a UGC creator, if you don't know what a UGC is, it's user-generated content. So it means that as a brand, you pay a creator who isn't necessarily an influencer, they just know how to make good content, and then you give them their product, they make content about your product, and they send it back to you, and you post it on your platform, right? So you're not leveraging their audience, you're leveraging their ability. They're a freelance videographer, that's what they are, but they're also the talent as well. So you get a UGC content creator, which we did, which was Aspen. We actually hired her in for hairification, so she now works for hairification as well, and she's paid a retainer with them, and she becomes the face of it. And so we did the same thing, which was like, yep, Jordan, the owner, he was never going to be able to do this. I mean, one, he had perfect hair, but he doesn't use this product. He didn't need to use this product, and also it's not really targeted at men, it's targeted at women. It doesn't fix this. It fixes like stress-related alopecia or tension-related alopecia or things like that, or damage from bleaching hair and stuff. And so we created a campaign which was the antithesis of a good shampoo, which is, what if you didn't wash your hair? So what would happen if you didn't wash your hair, and for how long, and what would happen? And so, especially, and the key there is that this is someone obviously who really takes care of themselves and is really conscious of how they look. So that's the rub, is like, not only did we go, what's it like if you don't wash your hair, but what's it like if you don't wash your hair for someone who really gives a shit about their hair? Because it makes it, there's much more in it then. Like it's much more visceral.
Yeah, it's much. Because if it was me, like, no one would give a fuck. Like, really? You don't wash your hair? I have no idea. You know, so it has to be, you have to put the parts together to get the relatability or the interest or that curiosity.
Yeah. And when you look at Aspen, that picture on the right, like, she's got, I mean, her hair's ridiculous. Like, her hair's amazing. She spends a lot of money on it. She goes to the hairdressers all the time. And if the woman out there who go to the hairdressers has spent a bunch of money, you'll know that hairdressers will hate you buying shampoo off the shelf at Coles or at Woolies, you know, at the supermarket, right? It's not a thing that some hairdressers won't take you unless if you're using store-bought shampoo, right? So it's one of these things. We had to have all the elements. So we came up with a campaign which was like, okay, well, let's not wash your hair for every day, and every day you don't, her boss will give her $100 for not washing your hair. And so we did it. Anyway, it took off. Like, you can see by some of the numbers there, they were on 14,000 followers when we started. By day 31, they were at 106.9 thousand followers. And over that period of 31 days, it had 50 million views. Like 50 million people saw them. And then Aspen was getting asked to speak on radio and all sorts of stuff, right? So the campaign was like this whole antithesis of what the product did. But the thing was that her hair looked great for most of the month. Like, it never stopped looking good. And then she could also use this, what they call a hair mask, which is, for those of you who know, I don't know what it is, but apparently you spray it in your hair if you have it, and it's like it just like helps revitalize it and make it look okay throughout the month. And which was a hairification product. And so people were like, shit, your hair actually doesn't look so bad after 31 days. But the only reason it didn't look so bad is because she'd been constantly using hairification up until that point to make it look good. And then the result of this campaign was that at Priceline, where we did the measure against, they 5x their sales. They 5 times their sales over this period of the products, because people were like, well, fuck, if she looks this good after that, then I got to get on this stuff, right? And so it went bananas, this campaign. But you can start to see how that, like, proposition around, like, I mean, the single-minded proposition here, I can't remember the exact words, but it was something around, like, it's effectiveness. It works. We actually work, because a lot of these products don't work. A lot of this, like, growth serum stuff that you get for hair, it just doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because they just put a tiniest bit of the active ingredient in. Now it's in. They can say it's got the active ingredient, and therefore it's got the growth serum. What Jordan did with hairification, we put enough in it to make it actually work according to the science. So it was about that. And so then we went in, and we created a campaign of, actually, what if you didn't wash your hair? Would your hair still look good? And Jordan's like, look, I don't recommend it, but yeah, like, it'll last. It'll be fine. And then it did. and we create this cool campaign.
And that's sort of the opposite of what you expect from a hair, because a shampoo company would just come out and say our product's really awesome, it works, right? But you have to really have to demonstrate, like you have to show the audience that it works, not just tell them, because fuck that, no one would listen. Like how many times have you seen an ad on TV before and after and you've not bought the product, right? That's just not going to work anymore. So you have to do something interesting and just really look at what is the audience doing, what's the observation we've got, what's the single mono proposition, what are the values we have, all of those things all play a part in creating the work that then works.
Does that start to make sense around like how then campaigns come about as some examples of different ways to look at it?
Yeah.
I think it's cool to see the audience, like you suggested as well. So that her audience is what did you say? Alopecia, and like quite a small audience, but this campaign's mainstream.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right,
Yeah. And look, the causes for stress related alopecia and damaged hair from bleaching and stuff, those are concerns all women who go get their hair looked after, and these sort of like some of the stuff that women have to do to have their hair look good is pretty bad, like that, but they do it because that's the society's thing, right? So like, they all have this stress on the way that they treat their hair, and so they need these products to then counter the crap that we make them do to look good. Like it's this like whole thing, this world that we've built, and so all women understand this feeling. All women understand having their hair damaged or and want to protect it. And so actually, the biggest users of the shampoo won't be people who need it, will be people who are trying to prevent. So actually, it actually belongs to everyone, and everyone wants it. Because like, Aspen has no problem with her hair at all. Like her hair is great, but also you could argue that it's great because she's been using hairification.
Yeah.
And inside this campaign too, the other bit about it was to have the conversation around hair care. Like that was one of the core call to actions in it, is that we want in the comments people talking about hair care. And so part of it was when she takes the pot off her head and reveals her hair every day, which again was just a gag. People were calling her pot head, which was pretty funny. The comments were, oh, you should try do this to make your hair better. You should try do this thing, right? So people were giving all their like anecdotal things of how she could look after her hair. So now Hairification owned the conversation on TikTok and Instagram about ways to clean and protect your hair. And if you were curious enough, you would click on the bio and you'd go and find that, oh, they make a product that just so happens to help me look after my hair. But they've never once had to say it. And if you go through the content, I mean, they're doing a little bit more now because they've earned the trust to do sales content, but in their original 31-day campaign, they never ever had to talk about their product. They just had to talk about the idea, the single-minded proposition. Yeah. Cool. All right. We're an hour in. That was good. That was good timing. I did full screen your thing for you because it annoys me that you don't, but...
No, I'm confused.
No, you don't know how to get out of it. I reckon we can stop sharing and do discussion now.
Yeah, okay. Alright. Alright, so how the fuck do we start doing this then? So what is pretty obvious in all of those examples, and with the way I always start this, is the best thing to do is just determine the enemy. Like, because if you've watched any film or anything, it's always good that there's an enemy, and then the overcoming of the enemy is the key. So I think a good place for us to start is like, what's the enemy that you are fighting? Like, what's the thing from your single-minded proposition and your mission? What is the thing that you are against? Then that's always a good place to start. Not always the answer. I mean, obviously for hairification, the enemy was not washing your hair. Like how bad is it if I don't wash my hair? That's like an adversary, I guess. For the know-how guys, is it know-how? You know, dyslexic. For the guys, the enemy in that though was different, because the enemy there was no one gives a fuck about clothing advertising. Like that's the enemy there. So they're different things, but there's always, if you can find out the adversary and that makes sense or is unique for you, then you're winning. Because then you can use all the power that you've got to beat the adversary, and that happens in the mind of the consumer.
Yeah. And once you got the adversary, the campaign's really easy to get from that. So it's like a good thing for us to spend some time just doing this properly with everyone. I think we should do it as a group.
Yeah, okay.
I think we should go around together and do it as a group. So I think it's good for you guys to all hear. Does anyone think they have an idea of who their adversary is?
we think our adversary is chocolate boredom.
Cool.
Chocolate is boring.
Well, chocolate boredom is like a thing that we can fight as our enemy, possibly, you know?
Okay. Let's explain. What is that? What is chocolate boredom?
Well, I guess it's just the...
I get it when I go to the supermarket. I've tried them all.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the same old chocolate, you know? It's the chocolate that's not going to impress your friends, you know? I mean, we get a lot of customers who buy our chocolate to share with their friends after dinner as a surprise kind of thing, you know? Oh my God, have you seen this? Have you tried this before? So there's that thing about sharing something that's exciting with people you love as well. You know, it's not just the regular chocolate that you're used to.
Yeah, okay.
So I think
Do you think it is
could
that?
be our-
Because I'll play devil's advocate on that. I think it might be kind of habit.
Yeah.
Comfortable, like, because I love chocolate, but I always buy the same bar of chocolate because I just don't like it's that human thing where the unfamiliarity scares me and I don't want to take a risk. I know that the thing I've got is good enough, but I don't know if something like I don't want to take the. It's like when you go to the curry house. I order the same fucking curry every time, right? And I love trying new things, but I just order the same one because I'm really scared that the thing I'm going to order is not going to be as kind of okay as the one I order. So why would I order it? Right? And I always do it. And I'm like, today I'm going to order this. Today I'm going to order this. Today I'm going to order this. I'll have a chicken jalfrezi, please. It's the same fucking thing every time. So maybe that's part of it as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously has a bit of a price point that some people, it's not a comfortable risk for some people as well. So I guess it's convincing people to take that risk.
Risky business.
You know,
business.
You know the blocks of chocolate that you sent us, the ones in the cardboard sleeve packaging? The not sleeve, you know, the blocks, right? The thin blocks of chocolate that you sent. How much does one of those sell for?
$16.
Our chocolate,
Yeah,
13.
13.
No. I thought you said $6.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. Yep. I think there's something in there. I think like that chocolate boredom, I think what you've done is what we would do, which is like take it down to what's the real thing.
Yeah.
What's this thing stopping them doing it, which I think's right. Like I think chocolate boredom is true. Like I think I feel cool because I've got this cool chocolate show off to my friends and stuff, but actually the thing you're overcoming is getting people to change to that.
Yeah.
Like why are we not buying Whittaker's or why are we not buying Cadbury or whatever?
I never thought that I was bored of my chocolate. I never thought about it. I just literally habitually just reach out for a dairy milk because I know that that's good enough to do the job. I'm comfortable with it. I don't want to change.
Complacency,
Yeah.
It's like the industry's complacency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our enemy is complacency.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Well, maybe. I mean, it's
Maybe, not sure, but it's not too dissimilar to boredom. You know,
True.
Right.
it's not too dissimilar, but it's more of a human thing that me as a consumer are dealing with.
Yeah.
Your product stops them from being bored with their chocolate, but actually, I didn't know I was bored.
Yeah, I had no idea.
True. Yeah.
You know, because like I love buying Whittaker's chocolate, so why am I going to go buy yours? You know, like why would I even make the leap? I wouldn't even look.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And that's a human truth. We all do it. I buy the same products. I never try the other ones because I know that does the job, and that's all I need. I don't even think to do that, right?
It was part of the hairification problem too.
Yeah.
Because who changes shampoo? Like hardly anyone changes their shampoo. Once you've locked onto a shampoo, you just keep buying it. Toothpaste, same thing. So it's like, how do we hijack that thought process in the middle of it? And that was why we went around effectiveness as well. So we talked about effectiveness, but the thing we're trying to get people to do was to like jump from buying Pantene or whatever they're fucking buying to buying hairification, you know, and they're much more expensive. They're like 40-50% more expensive than the next brand underneath them. So how do I get? But then they're nowhere near as expensive as the $160 shampoos you got to buy at the salon, you know. So but they do the same job as those ones.
Because it's around curiosity and envy.
Yeah.
Going back to the stuff about earlier, reason for change, you know.
Adventure, exploration.
Yeah. And this is like, we actually talked about you guys a little bit because obviously you're clever and sent us a bunch of chocolate, so we all sat around eating it and thinking, how would we do this? But when Joni were talking sitting there, it's like, because you guys have so crazy flavors, like just reading the labels is like, what the fuck is in this thing? You know, like, which is awesome. It's awesome. That's the point, right? It's not boring at all. It's like fun chocolate flavors. Like, there is definitely a content series around, like, if you can showcase, like, have you guys seen Hercules Noble's Will It Sourdough? Have you seen that guy? Okay. So Hercules Noble is a private chef, and he does a series called Will It Sourdough. And essentially what he does is he cooks he cooks in a food into a bread, like carbonara. He makes carbonara into sourdough, and he bakes sourdough and makes carbonara sourdough. That there is intriguing enough, and the curiosity goes up that people are like, fuck, I want to try his recipe and make the thing. Or I want to hire him as a private chef so he makes me carbonara fucking sourdough if I could afford it, right? And like, he's a premium product, right? As a private chef, I think. I don't know about you, but I can't afford a private chef. But that's a premium product that he's been able to do, and he is booked out. Like, right now he's in France cooking for a very wealthy family over there. He's from Auckland, just so we all know. So he's from Auckland, and he's just been flown to France to cook for a rich family, because he found an audience by doing this thing to buy. So your $13 chocolate is not expensive when you're thinking what people can sell through this platform. So could you like mix, like, you know, do these crazy chocolate experiments, this chocolate alchemy on camera that, like, you might never sell it, but you make people go, fuck, that's pretty cool. And then you look at your actual flavors and then they're still crazy. Like, people still look at that and go, oh fuck, I gotta try this one. It's got cheese in it. What the hell? You know, like that's kind of like how you take this like complacency thing that people are just like, they don't even think that there's other chocolate. They wouldn't even look. And now they're seeing you do these crazy things of stuff. Oh, I really like carbonara, and then I also like sourdough. Of course I'd like fucking carbonara sourdough, you know? Like, imagine doing, I mean, this is a stupid idea, but like, imagine it was like KFC skin chocolate, you know? Like, something dumb like that, which people are like, wait, what? How does that work? I saw the Islanders go, oh wait, what? Fucking racist. Hey, I was one of them. But you get what I mean? So it's like, you take these two things that shouldn't be together, you smash them together, people get interest, they go, wait, what the fuck is this chocolate company? They do cool shit, they do this chocolate alchemy. Fuck, I should look at what other chocolates they got. Wow, that's pretty interesting flavors. Let's make a decision to change my complacency to do another thing.
Just on a side note, I'd like to congratulate you on the packaging, because literally it was like a box of fireworks, and I don't know if that's intentional, but it felt like I was like we had a box, like the way that it was all wrapped and laid out and colours literally felt like fireworks. I loved it. Like, it was awesome. It was so cool. Like the way it I literally reminded me of my childhood being in the UK, just fucking with a box, like the excitement of a box of fireworks. It was so good. Very good.
It's all
the t-shirt looks great. The t-shirt looks great.
Yeah, no, lilac suits everyone apparently. There's a theory that lilac suits anyone, and I've got a lilac t-shirt and I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool.
Does that make sense for everyone? Like, we don't have to get to the answer today, because we're going. This next campaign bit is going to take a few weeks for us, but like, that's a really good conversation. Like, boredom is right, but it's not right to turn into a content series, right? Like, we're going to go deeper. Like, what's the way the audience is thinking?
Yeah, you just keep going down for what's the reason for that, what's the reason for that, what's the reason for that, until you get to the end. And and I think for you it's the complacency and the
And there's probably maybe even, if we spend a little bit longer, it's probably even further down. Like, we can even go, well, why are people complacent? Like, why don't we change stuff? Why is that? You know? And I don't know the answer right now, but we can get to that. Like, you just keep asking why. And then you get to this fundamental human truth. And then you're not even talking about chocolate now, you can talk about anything.
Yeah.
Now you're having a conversation around this thing that every single human in the world feels. Right? So now you can go viral because we all think about it. Yeah.
I think for me, like the light bulb moment for me here, guys, is like, I've been thinking this in a very one-dimensional like lens of like, how do I do marketing? How do I do the social media? How do I create demand on these platforms as me as an individual? And I think like going through the process of like sharing the examples, it doesn't actually have to be me. So like Dave and I in our previous discussions, we've both been scratching our head and it's like, so are you going to get onto TikTok and start posting videos? And fuck, I don't know what we're doing. Like, should I be doing this? Like, and we've got like real world business stuff to deal with. And I think like for me is you don't need to think of it through that one-dimensional lens. Like there's like going through this process is telling me like there's multiple ways that you can attack it, and that for me is like really, really helpful. So specifically if we're using like Baron as the user case here, it's like there's potentially something that Erin could do on a campaign level, which could be actually quite an easy win for her. But then there could be something which Baron as the brand wants to do, which is above Erin's capability, but it's still actually very feasible. And I think also for us is like, you don't know what you don't know, if that makes sense. I didn't know, I mean, it's obvious now, but like I didn't know that we could go down the road of using a user-generated content creator to help us on a campaign level. And I'm like, fuck, like that's so obvious and such an easy win, but it's not obvious. It wasn't obvious. Nate, yeah.
Guess what? You probably know a couple as well.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
You've probably got a good relationship with a few of them, maybe.
That's the sad reality is like, yes, it's like literally been staring us like right smack bang in the face. But I think like the workshop for me is like bang, like we've been trying to tackle this through like a single like a one-dimensional lens. And I think like just speaking to the rest of the cohort, Jennifer, Tonga, Roman, like for you guys, like what's the multi-dimension in terms of how do you tackle this? Like Roman from an art perspective and like a historical component, like again, like I just see it in terms of like you're also scratching your head like fuck, like I'm a smart dude, I make some like pretty amazing art, but like how the fuck do I get that in front of an audience that's like relatable, tangible, and I think that's like just a really like cool example. And like Tonga as well for you from a design perspective, like for some people like cool, so you make like a really expensive and really fancy bathroom, like cool, like how do you sell that, like how do you position that, and I kind of also feel like maybe we've all been thinking through that like one-dimensional lens of like how the fuck do I do that. I had a really great light bulb moment here, guys.
I love when like salespeople figure out marketing for the first time. It's so good. Like this is that, and no, I love it because I'm the same. Like I'm not giving you shit, like because I'm a salesperson, and like I mean mine was a few years ago, but I had the same epiphany. Oh wait, marketing works? Oh fuck! Holy shit! Like, I get it. Whoa! Because I did the same thing, honestly. Like like I'm sales by trade, but like I had the same epiphany. I was like, oh wow, like marketing is a real thing. I don't just need to convert. Like I can just tell a story and have everyone listen, and then they'll find their own way to buy my product. And there's heaps of ways to do it. It's so cool to see because like the enthusiasm you're speaking with is like how you become an evangelist for it. Because you're so good at selling, now you can sell this. You can sell the concept of marketing, and which is good because you're able to get the rest of your team on board now.
Well, like I think that's the thing. Like why I'm so excited. Like I know that the potential's there, and I've worked with some really smart marketers previously, where they're like, don't worry, like Nick, you focus on building the sales organization. We'll do the marketing, and we can kind of connect the dots. But it's always been like cool. Like that's an area of specialization that I don't need to focus on. Where like, especially now coming to VidApp, we're a much smaller team, and it's again something that Dave and I like. We know the potential's there, and we're both scratching our head and like, how the fuck do we do this?
That's cool. It's awesome.
A good aha moment. Yeah.
I also like the concept of the and. Like I don't know if any of you watch Gary Vee, but he always talks about it's not or, it's and. Like that's always the conversation. So people are like, oh, should I do this or should I do that? So just do both. It's an and conversation. Just do all of it. It's what did, right? It's like, should we do morning shift or should we do branding? Is it we just did both? Like just do all of it. And Joe Webb actually does his own personal branding stuff from his side. Like, so this is never, don't ever get one-dimensional. If you're like, but I want to do this as well, oh, then just do that as well. Just have a whole nother social media profile that just does the other thing. And people are like, oh, but now I've got 2 social media profiles to manage. And actually, it's not that much harder, because once you get to the campaign that's really easy to do, like we saw with Zeal, right? Those campaign styles that we did, they're really easy to rinse and repeat. They're not hard to make once you've got it really clear down from your single-minded proposition. So if you've got these 2 ideas you really want to do, oh, fuck, they're real easy to do. So just do both of them, but on different profiles. Like, they're not that hard. It's the thing people find hard about social media is they don't have the single-minded proposition that makes the ideas easy to replicate. You know, they're just trying to go, oh, this will be a fun idea. Oh, I've seen this guy do this trend, I should do that trend, with no purpose behind it. So then you're always trying to find and reach for the new trend or the new thing or whatever. But once you got these like really clear concepts, you can just you make them at scale. It's how we put out so much content.
And then on that, like back to the conversation about complacency, your audience is really complacent. They like the same shit. They don't want to choose new stuff. They'll watch your thing over and over again if it delivers them a thing. It's like sketch shows. You know the old sketch shows where there was like a little sketch here, little sketch here. They're all exactly the same. The same thing, same joke, same setup, same thing. The people love it. They love it. They watched all of those shows. They love it, and that's what you can do with what you put out. It can be the fucking same shit, right? Because the audience is complacent. They're like the chocolate people. They're like, oh, I like this. I'm going to stick with this. I don't know about that or that. I don't want to watch that. So yeah, you got to use all those.
Does anyone know who Carby Lame is? Do you know Carby Lame? You must know who he is. Carby Lame is the biggest TikToker in the world, right? He's 180 million followers or something stupid. He's massive, and he has never changed his videos, his single-minded proposition, which is he watches something dumb, people doing dumb shit, and he's just like,
oh, there you go.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
literally billions of views, like billions and billions and billions of views, and is a multi-millionaire now who makes stupid money now because everyone wants him to come and do his thing on their thing.
Yeah.
Right? Never once changed it. Like, he's been doing it for 4 or 5 years now, so it's like never changed it, and he's like just mega rich now. Like, he just built an empire.
Can I do
let's go.
Sort of idea of what my enemy is?
Yeah, please, let's go.
Yeah,
I think my enemy is essentialism. So what is essentialism?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of this idea that in art, and also like in Te Ao Māori, it would be that a very kind of simplistic view of whatever the thing is. So, in the old-fashioned world of art, people would have a discipline and they would become a painter or a violin player to think about art in a completely non-essentialist way. And given that opportunity, they opened the door and they just failed, from my perspective. So they just completely missed out on showing what the coolest part of Te Ao Māori is. So in some ways they kind of they adopted, from my perspective, an essentialist view of what that might be. So I think it should be, kind of exactly like what you were saying. It should be more lively, bright, and rebellious. It should be able to pick up and say, I don't know, what is the fuck up of these scissors? What's the genealogy of these scissors? And maybe, if that makes sense, maybe that would make sense if you were talking about Matisse, because he had 2 careers, one with painting and then one with cutting. So there should be, the enemy in some ways would be just bad art. Just not thinking of it in a pluralistic way.
Can I read the definition? Because I had to read the definition.
Yeah.
So the definition for essentialism, it might help everyone else. Essentialism is the idea that people and things have natural, inherent, and unchanging characteristics that define them. It can also refer to the practice of treating something as having innate existence or universal validity, rather than as a social, ideological, or intellectual construct. I don't know if that helps people, but...
Another way of saying it is to say that identity is moving.
Yeah.
Is it like the difference is more primary to identity. So it's not like I think what's the old-fashioned? There's an old saying that says a woman never steps into the same river twice because it's not the same river and she's not the same woman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a kind of idea of flux, and I think that's like kind of in some ways all the history of art is almost like all flux, making fun of people who believe in the fixed identity, or making fun of the belief in the fixed identity.
Yeah. Like status quo. We talk about that too. Like challenging the status quo that has been established because of
Yeah.
protectionism.
Yeah.
Protecting away. Yeah, it makes sense.
Roman, maybe something like to think about in terms of like accessibility is like the universal truth, like challenging a universal truth, because like essentialism as an average Joe might be something like quite intimidating to try and tackle, or like as a concept to consume, where it's like, challenging a universal truth when looking at art or something like that. And I'm just trying to think of, like a universal truth. A triangle has 3 sides. It doesn't. Like stimulating a conversation around that. And I think like art is also just such a really difficult thing to kind of discuss, because it's also so subjective. Like what you think is beautiful, I could think is completely rubbish. And also when again, like putting work together, what you think is like of historical and cultural like relevance and accuracy might not be to someone else. And I mean, the most obvious example of that is when you're looking at a historical film. The most celebrated examples of those are, your classic World War II, World War I films, where then you've got the historians that jump on and they're like, timeline's incorrect, this is incorrect, this is incorrect, this is incorrect. But someone at that point felt that it was incorrect at that time, was correct at that time. So from my perspective, I think like making the fact that you're wanting to challenge that like universal truth, or that assumed universal truth, is I think like the really accessible angle to make it user friendly for people that are kind of like uneducated to get educated, if that makes sense. Is that
I mean, I'm definitely not trying to say that a triangle is not a triangle, but or doesn't have 3 sides. But I think definitely the idea of multiple truths is super interesting. Yeah, because I think you're right. Like, say if I did try to talk about a negative experience at any point, usually what happens is that people will sort of try to tell you what the comeback should be. And it's like, well, but then from a Māori perspective, I'll be just like stepping on their truth. So it's kind of it's not the right way. So like instead of doing a comeback, you try to say something that will like kind of say agree to disagree in a different way. So you're right about that, and I think it's not like universalism, and in a weird way it does have a paradox in it, which these guys were pointing out at. Like if I'm trying to like find the essential way to speak about like non-essentialism, but I think in a weird way it is like that bubble where if you drill down into the specificity enough, it does become universal. So like just that creator that you just pointed out before, Stan, Kabi Lame, so amazing. Just because of how specific it is, it becomes universal. I love that.
Is it?
All right, I'm gonna take up no more time, but I just thought
I think it's good.
I'm pretty sure that's my enemy. Although it might be a little bit tricky to articulate, maybe we can come up with a short.
Well, I think it's complacency as well, right? Like,
it's
very similar to complacency. Like we get because you got to think about it. If essentialism's the enemy, okay, why? Why do humans why do the people who have established this want to hold and maintain the status quo? and because they're getting complacent, they've become complacent, or it's either complacency or protectionism.
Assumption.
You know, like, I don't want to move on from this thing because of this is the way it's done. And there is a thing in art sometimes when art becomes, like, when people think art becomes fact. You know, when something's done so long as an artful way, or art's done for such a long period of time, they think that is now fact, that's science, and it's not. It's just art that's been adopted for. And so that's like, there's this complacent piece to it. I don't think you're wrong, Roman. I think it's right. I think it's just like getting it down to the point of like, okay, if that's the enemy, how do you speak to it? Which
how do you make that relatable to?
And then what's the thing that you balance with that? Like you're talking about, like, you know, cognitive dissonance, like this like idea of holding these two truths at the same time is a pretty cool way to think about it. Like, because cognitive dissonance arguments or examples are really interesting for people to have, where they can hold these two truths in their head and then they don't realize they do, and then when you point it out to them, they're like, oh fuck, how can I believe those two things at the same time? They contradict each other, but you don't know because you never put them next to each other, which is a good way to get people to realize that, like, you're full of shit. Like, you know, like there isn't, you know, like we contradict ourselves all the time, which then can break down this essentialist view we have on things. Because if you wholeheartedly believe this is the way something's been, but I've just proven to you that, like, you hold all these many truths at the same time that don't fit, then how can you believe in this essentialist point? So I don't think you're wrong. I think it's a good one. I think it's just like getting it down to like the core of it.
They're all jealous because he's only 24. They're all jealous because he's only 24.
Okay. Who else? You got some notes, Rod? What do you got?
I think I wrote a few down, but I think that all comes back to the idea that movement isn't essential in one's life.
Movement's not essential.
The idea that it's not essential in people's life. The idea that, you know, you got time, accessibility, logistics. People will prioritize everything and then they'll prioritize themselves last, but they didn't realize that prioritizing themselves first will help with everything else and will make everything else better.
Why don't they think that?
Time's a massive thing. Making money's a massive thing. You know, we work a fuckload, and as a people we like to be perceived as not selfish, I guess, in New Zealand anyway, and humble. We try and do things for other people where we should be taking time for ourselves. And I think people can kind of
I feel like correct me if I'm wrong, anyone else jump in, but I think I like the idea of time being an enemy, because, or something like that, because, like, I mean, put your hand up if, like, you don't believe that movement's good for you. Right? Yeah, so everyone gets that.
Everyone
You
understands.
know, so like, but why won't they do it?
One of the things for me was the realization that as a human, I'm genetically trained to not move. As in, like, my body's trying to it's conserving itself. Like, it's not natural to go running. Like you do it because you can because you need food. But actually, mostly we are quite what's the word? Like, not lazy, but we actually naturally don't like doing movement. Like, it's a thing.
For sure.
And if you get to realise that, then
comfort,
it's like a comfort thing, and it's also like conserving energy and not breaking anything. Like, that's actually a thing that stops people exercising.
Big time. And I think
And they don't know that. They have no fucking idea. But once you tell someone that, that's an easier thing for them to go, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's necessarily the enemy, but for me, I found that really interesting in my journey from going from being like fat as fuck to fit. That was part of my journey, was to realise that actually it's naturally something that's an enemy for me. Like, I have to just go, you're naturally going to sit on the sofa because your body's trying to say.
And I guess that conversation, that's an enemy.
Yeah,
Well,
but
not
that's an
having
interesting thing to, when people realise that, and you think about it, and then that's another driver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're actually like not meant to be running around. Like, our bodies don't want it to, our brains don't want us to. They want us to sit on the sofa and eat chocolate. Literally eat sugar.
Bloody
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, I like that, because it even makes me think about, like, you know, mental hacks that you can do on people.
Yeah.
because their brain's lazy and it's consuming energy, so it just like fills in the gaps and stuff.
Yeah, and that's so. There was one of those things for me recently. We have a client who's got a product that's like a wellness gift card, and she said something around. We basically, when people are down or upset, we give them toxins to make them feel better. We give them booze or chocolate or whatever it is, sugar, and it just made me really think about the way I gift things. Like, and it was the relationship to that to me is those little moments in my head where it actually now makes me think. And that's the same as that one. It made me think differently about the situation, which is a good place to start, right? The idea that I give my friend, you're feeling down, let's go to the pub. You're feeling down, I'm going to poison you. Right? Like, that's fucking stupid. It's so stupid and no one thinks of it. But when that person told me that really made me think about my choices around that. Or, it's your birthday, I'm going to buy you some toxins. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it's really interesting. Your brain just shifts a little bit and you go, hang on a minute, this behaviour I'm doing is dumbass. And I didn't realise because I don't know what I don't know. Yeah. And it's the same as that. Like, if you start to talk to people and say, it's okay, like, the reason you don't want to get out of bed, it is just fucking natural. But there are ways you can tackle it because we get it that it's that deep.
Yeah, because I wrote down heaps of stuff, but it all comes back to that.
Yeah,
like the education around it.
Yeah, I'm not lazy. I'm like naturally engineered not to move because I'm a lazy cunt. It's because
then asking you to get up at like early hours, 5 a.m. and run a freaking mile. It's just like, oh, bro, there's no way that's happening.
Get you.
But I guess what I need to do then is have the channels and the access for people to do. You know, everyone's on different levels. Some people might want to do that. Yeah. Some people won't. Some people want to hit pads. Some people want to do a bit of strength. Yeah. But just providing that something, but it starts with that conversation. Because everything I wrote down all comes back. None of it's relevant unless
makes sense.
I don't know how you have that conversation, but that's for me. Those are the things that are really key when you get to that point, and then people just there's a thing in their head that goes off because that goes off every time I think about gifting. Now that goes off. Don't buy them booze. Don't buy booze. Don't take your mate to the pub. Do something else. You know, and I will still do that, of course, because I'm an idiot. But there's something going on in my head that relates to that, and I think about that thing.
Anyone else's thoughts on that?
I was just thinking about this idea, like for me, it's from chess, but I think chess and martial arts is kind of the same in the sense that, like sometimes I'll have a selfish brain. You know, I'll think, I'm going to put my knight here, I'm attacking your queen. If you don't move your queen, I'm going to fucking take it. And that's selfish brain because, of course, they're going to move the queen. They're going to move her out the way, and then they're going to probably checkmate me if I didn't check. You know, so, like, I feel like the enemy might be for you is this selfish brain that says, I don't like the idea of going for a run. No, that's stupid. I'd much prefer sitting here and watching doom scrolling, watching videos, because you actually fighting that brain that says, you know, I'm just going to sit here. It's going to be way better. It's part of
He's right. I love it.
Yeah, I like it because the combination of those two things is that you have the selfish brain, but that's actually that's the way your brain's designed. That is normal, so you don't beat yourself up over it.
Yeah, exactly. Because beating yourself up over something always makes it worse.
It's like
it never makes it better.
I was having a conversation with my wife last night about she put these timers on her TikTok and Instagram to get her off TikTok and Instagram. She's just spending too much time on it and beating herself up over it. And I was like, the TikTok and the Instagram's not the problem. Like your procrastination's the problem on the thing you want to do, and you're just like trying to get rid of this thing. I was like, if you really didn't want to do it, just delete the apps off your phone. Like, if you really don't want these things in your life. Yeah. But I said to her, I was like, why else are you going to do? Oh, well, I've got to do this and I'm going to do that. I was like, okay, that's like 42 minutes. What are you going to do for the other 23 hours of the day? And it's like, don't beat yourself up over using the TikTok's not the problem. Yeah. Don't beat yourself up over the fact you've got a selfish brain. Yeah. That's normal. But hey, why don't you hijack that and try and do this thing? Here's a way of hijacking your brain. Yeah. And doing something. Yeah, I like it. It makes sense to me now. Especially that thing about like what you said about it is our default response. Humans are designed to conserve energy, to use it when we need it.
And get sugar.
Designed for comfort, stay warm, sweet stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because all of those things is why I need to go and get the food.
Because now everything's so accessible, it's bad.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Convenience.
Everything. Yeah. Well, then there's another thing to play in then.
Yeah.
Convenience.
Yeah, totally. That's where I got to that. I went to convenience to that.
Yeah. convenience is a good enemy.
Yeah, convenience is a really good enemy.
It's a really good enemy because, like, yeah, Uber Eats.
Enemies are really good when they're good and bad as well.
Yeah.
They're not just one-sided. Like, multi-dimensional enemies are way better.
Oh yeah, like Killmonger
Yeah.
on Black Panther. Like when you get a villain that's like, oh, I can kind of agree with this guy.
Yeah.
I kind of agree.
Has anyone ever watched The Shield?
Yes.
The Shield was really good because that was like the perfect goody baddie main character. He was a fucking arsehole, but you also loved him, and it was so like conflicting, and that was what made the show so compelling because I was conflicted. I love you, but you just shot someone. Why did you shoot that person? That doesn't make any sense. But I love you. Like, and that's where you get really good enemies like that.
Yeah.
Like, all the good films have really good like characterization of them. Yeah, villains that you have to like a little bit. It's just the conflict in that is so it draws you.
A good villain makes a better story than a good hero.
Yeah.
Like The Dark Knight is so good because it's
all
Heath's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Batman. It's not.
No.
It's all Heath.
Yeah.
That makes that movie so good.
Yeah.
Joker. Yeah, it's good. I like it. There's something to build off there. That's really good. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else want to share?
I was thinking disconnect could be like one of our enemies. Like we're thinking about tradition and bringing people together and things because everybody's so disconnected.
What's the thing that leads to the disconnection?
Would be like almost technology and fast-paced lives. Like people are, by themselves on their screens, not sitting around the family table anymore because everybody's so busy running their kids to sports and this and that, and there's no time to like slow down and come together and connect.
I do like it. There's this really interesting statistic that like something like 98% of inmates in prison right now didn't eat dinner as a family when they were kids. It's something really crazy. Like it's a real crazy statistic.
Wow.
Yeah. That wasn't a thing. They didn't eat meals as a group. They ate it on their own. And like it's not causality, but there's a really interesting correlation between inmates that they didn't eat together. They didn't break bread together.
Yeah, I have a thing with the time thing because I don't know. I learnt this off Stan, which is that there is time. We just choose to use it the way we use it. So there's always time to do. There's always time to do anything you want to do. You just choose to use your time in certain ways, and people will go, I haven't got time to do that, but you have. You just haven't thought about how you're using your time. My son's like that. I haven't got time to do my jobs. I'm like, fuck you. Have you been on TikTok all day? Do you know what I mean? Like it's just that's an interesting area as well. Like actually how we choose to spend our time. And the prioritization,
like our priorities.
Yeah, and the reasons behind that.
Yeah.
Because when Stan talked about that a lot, and that made me realise the way that I act. Like I got fuckloads of time. I really have, and I just choose to use it in certain ways. And if I actually think about how I'm using that time, I can reorder it, and then I've got time to do stuff that I should be doing or what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
Time is interesting too around family. Like actually, it's a good one because there's this. I read this. I don't know. It was some fucking Facebook post or something that caught me off guard, and it was like, if you're over 20 and you live in a different country, a different place to your parents, you're probably only going to see them 10 more times or something for the rest of your life. From 20 or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, it scared the shit out of me because I was like, it was probably true because I was living abroad. And so now that I'm back in New Zealand, like every moment I get to spend with my mum, I'm like, yep, let's catch up, like let's hang out, let's do stuff. All my nieces and things, I'm like, yep, because at some point I'm not going to live in New Zealand again, and I'll, we want to open up in New York and all this sort of shit. So then I might only see mum 10 more times. And so, but so there's that connection piece of time, and then also the other thing that's getting me off one of those is the weeks and you have left
that
in your
thing's
life.
Brilliant. That's great.
Oh,
yeah,
that's fucking freaky. It's like a calendar of the weeks you have left in your life.
Yeah,
and it's not like it's not that many.
Yeah.
Like when you count weeks.
No.
I've probably got like 20 summers. That's it. Done.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 20 weeks.
20 weeks.
20 weeks. Seriously, it's not much.
I've now got this thing where I actually drive my kids around a lot because it's the only fucking time I get to talk to them. Like it's literally the only time I get to talk to my kids is in the car because they're just not, they don't want to talk, and in the car they have to. So I'll actually just drive them places because I hate it, but that's the only time I really get to spend with them is picking them up and dropping them off. Or I'll make up something I need to go and do and you can come with me. Just so I get to see them.
Yeah, teenagers,
right?
Yeah.
And that's because that's time I want with them, and I just don't get it. Like it's so hard to find time with teenagers that they want to, like they're in a situation where they want to talk to you now. And it's not their fault. They're kids, and that's fine. Like, and of course they don't want to talk to me. That'd be weird if they did. But like that stuff is like just thinking about how you, like, rather than making time to sit with them at home, I'm like, well, let's go driving. Just fucking talk to them.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
So it's kind of like you creating this new like tradition of spending that time with them.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Because it's the thing, the connection thing is important. It's just the way that we assume we can't do it anymore, but there are ways to do it. It's just you have to think about it differently. It's not the way that it used to be done. That's kind of at odds with your cinema proposition.
But there's also this idea too, which could be quite interesting because we're trying to do this on social media, and some people would then argue, well, there's disconnect in social media and stuff. But like, there's also a bunch of really good studies around how communities and relationships evolve in a digital world, and how it can actually, you can have the same feelings and stuff around someone digitally, but like a lot of people would look at social media as being like a place of disconnect, you know, like I'm no, like kids on their phone and stuff, but actually like really meaningful connection and conversation can happen, and there is some real good study about it. There's obviously a whole toxicity part around social media, but there's also toxicity part about people in real life, right? You can be in abusive relationships, you can be in a family that doesn't treat you very well, you know, there's heaps of ways. Inhuman contact is just as bad, so you know.
My ex-wife used to go on about my son playing games all the time, and I was like, I love it. I love that he's online with his friends. Like, he's actually spending hours talking and building relationships with his friends when he's playing Grand Theft Auto. Not worried about him being a murderer because he's playing Grand Theft Auto. I'm more happy that he's actually just not sitting watching something, he's talking to his mates. Like, that stuff's really,
That's right, yeah.
and he loves those. He's got such good, like, a little online community that he plays games with, and it's so good. And then they started seeing each other IRL.
Oh, you'll say that.
That's right. Well, yeah. Or if you grow up in a community that you don't feel a part of, social media and the internet these days allows you to find that community across the world, kind of thing. Yeah. So it does bring people together that way.
Yeah, I like it. I like disconnecting time. I think you can work from that.
Yeah. I think we can drill it down a bit more, but we do that next week. Yeah, I think.
I like it. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Tom? You've been pretty quiet today.
Not in the chat, though.
You're all in the chat.
Because you were being racist, bro.
Because I was being racist.
Yeah,
sorry.
she's upsetting you because you're being racist again.
What is the enemy and who are we fighting? I think we're always fighting cowboys, DIYers, Pinterest, cowboys who like follow the block and try and replicate trends, copycats, just real beigey, things like, people copying, but what they see on TV, and there's just no creativity, no uniqueness, no thought behind the pretty facade that you see. Even kind of like fighting against like keeping up with the Joneses, and how people have this, they have to have, like, their friends just built a house, and now we have to have, we should build a house that's black, and all of that. There's this predictability about architecture and in New Zealand, and we often follow the trend that happens like in Europe, and then give New Zealand 5 times and that trend will land here.
Beige cowboys.
So it's just
sameness, copycatting.
Do you think it's something around inability?
Inability.
You have like the inability of people to get to the place that you can take them. Because you can take, like, what we talked about last week was your ability to like take people's dreams and turn them into something. Which is like, is different to fighting cowboys, or it's just a thought, like, because you enable people who generally couldn't do this to do it and do it in their way, so it's special, and that's because they can't. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's a good word. Sometimes we feel like we kind of are fighting against the trend of like a big supplier will start bringing in a particular product because that's what's cool right now. And sometimes we can't build the things that we design because the material of the product just doesn't exist in New Zealand or doesn't meet standards. So there's always like a little bit of a risk in us proposing a new idea, because sometimes it hasn't been done, or sometimes it might be an integrity problem on a building. But I don't know, I just feel like I think value is far deeper than pretty things.
Let's look at the second one prop.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
What is it? Make 10 shit space and tools ones.
How do you get back to the thing?
Like,
I'm just going to have a quick little look at your things, because
oh, you've done that fucking thing, haven't you? No.
turning on doesn't. Okay.
Turning pad space. Turning non-designer trends into reality.
Yeah.
Like, so is it like a showcasing of all this cool shit?
I don't know, but is it sheep? Is it the idea of like herds of people just doing this thing that... Because that's really interesting to me, that everyone has the same fucking colour walls and everyone has the same pot of soap on their fucking thing, and there's no individuality in it all.
I think, like, today, black bathrooms are cool. I mean, everyone has a black bathroom, but nobody stops to think about the person using the black bathroom. So the person using the black bathroom is actually in a wheelchair and they can't walk. So, you know, so your pretty black bathroom now doesn't serve a purpose to the person using that bathroom. So I guess what we do best is design that black bathroom perfectly to serve that person in the wheelchair. You know, and so it's just kind of...
So maybe it's
seeing
things
beyond
like...
the surface.
Maybe your enemy is things that just don't make sense. Like, it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
This thing doesn't make any
I like
sense.
that.
Just like highlighting really obvious, relatable things that just don't actually make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
'Cause there's a lot of those.
That,
When you think about it, there's tons of stuff.
yeah. I like that.
And you can relate it to anything. Like, I mean, obviously you'll do it related to building, but you can you can do it to anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's the can't be names one.
Yeah.
That's what he does. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Doesn't make any fucking
This
sense.
doesn't make any sense that you're doing this fucking thing. Just do this.
Yeah.
You know, like, kind of.
There's a campaign.
Do you know what I mean? Though? Like, because it
That's
is
your
like when you
campaign.
point those things out. It's like the thing with the health card. Like when in my head it just went.
9:55.
Shut up. That's my watch. You know, when you just go, that doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm giving my friends toxins when they're feeling sad. Like, that's fucking stupid. But I didn't realise how stupid that was until someone pointed it out to me, and it had a really big effect. And that's that whole thing around, like, what's the point of this fucking bathroom if it doesn't serve the purpose of, or, you know what I mean? Like, you could go that tight, or you can go broad and just go, we live on a big rock in space. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah, that's that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it makes no fucking sense. Think about it.
And it's also good because it doesn't have to just be practical,
No.
like, use. It can just
Yeah.
be like, this design doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to follow this stream because of
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
reason,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You said you wanted this thing and now
Yeah.
you've gone and done
Yeah.
this thing. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
you tell me you care about the environment and you drive to work. It doesn't make any fucking sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
so much of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I like
cool.
it.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's really broad, it's broad and funny, and you can go anywhere with it.
Have we just missed Nick and Dave? Is there anyone to... It is he, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Nick and Dave he was just excited.
He was just excited.
Nick was just excited for
Yeah.
his bit of talking.
Okay.
We're going to go back next week then.
Yeah, we're going to do it next week. We've got 4 minutes. We'll let's have a quick chat about it anyway, because that only took 6 minutes of time. But just quickly, the only homework we're going to have today is going for you guys to take these enemies and just think about them a little bit more, and then we're going to work on more of it next week and start to flesh it out further. We're going to go from there. Nick and Dave, though, what do you think? Where are you sitting? Where's the enemy?
I had shit tick.
Shit, tick. I mean, it's not wrong. It's not wrong. Yeah. Why shit tick?
Or yeah, another spin on is one version is custom app development. A lot of it, like I think Nick, we mentioned, like people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for like it's not shit. Sometimes it's shit tech, but it can. Yeah,
I reckon that yours is ignorance.
Yeah, the awareness.
It's like an ignorance thing. Like, people just don't know that there's this, like, they're just ignorant. They don't. They just like people who do that are fucking stupid. That they spend that much money when you offer a service that.
I think, like, if I think about it from the creators who do this sort of thing,
Oh, yeah.
who need this sort of stuff from their perspective, there is an ignorance play in that they don't even know there's a possibility for this thing to happen. The shit tech piece I don't dislike because I think it's not quite right, but I think it's good tech. Good tech, you don't need to tell people how it works. Like, the perfect tech in the world just works. You know, like, if you get good, well-designed tech,
Actually,
it just happens.
the best tech is the tech that your mum doesn't realise is tech.
Yeah.
Right? Because like that example you gave the other day of your mum like didn't know how to do something, but she knows how to get onto Facebook and post something. Like, she doesn't think that's tech.
No.
Right?
She knows how to use Facebook, no worries, but using other sorts of tech, she's like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to use phones. I'm stupid. It's like, mum, like, you can get on your phone and post a Facebook post and comment on other people's shit. Like, you know how to use technology, and it's because the tech is good.
I think for me, like, the enemy is that, like, the square box vanilla solution that like content creators go for, that they just, like, they're none the wiser that there's other things out there. You know, so they're like, and when they realize that they've got the square box, they're like, oh man, I got the square box. And like what Tonga was saying in terms of the design element, in terms of like fighting that kind of mediocrity, is like, when you get the square box, then they're like, oh shit, like, it doesn't actually serve the purpose. But they're like, I don't know any better, so I've got the square box and it's kind of working, but it's not working, and it's so I don't know. Like, our enemy is the square box. Yeah.
But that's ignorance as well, right?
And then I think if I go a little bit deeper, and if anyone needs to drop off at 10, just drop off. But I kind of wouldn't mind just quickly finish this with Dave and Nick. If I'm a creator, and then I'm ignorant, I don't even know this is possible, but why the hell would I want something like this? And it's because as like a core truth for me is that I need to make money, I need to have an income, I need to have like ways of continuing to do this thing that I want to do. And so, and actually, like, because the reason that happens is that the creator economy, although it's huge, it's still a 1% economy. Like, 99% of creators make no money, aren't generating money, aren't doing a very good job of sustaining themselves, and you're providing them a way that they can like use technology to enhance that, right, and be better. There's ignorance is that they don't know what's possible. There's a door that they haven't seen open, but then there's their core truth for why they would do it is they want to monetize, they want to make money, they want to be able to continue to make their art. That makes sense. Like, that's the thing I'm hurting, like, as the creator. Like, I actually don't know if tech, because you're not the only option, right, to do that. There's other, not even just in the tech space, there's other ways I can go monetize my audience outside of tech.
Correct.
So you're not just facing it, like, pick our platform or pick the other platform. It's like, pick our platform or pick brand deals or pick this or pick that. And then you're trying to convince them to do your one, because everyone only has so much energy that they can give something, and like, it's really hard. Like, not many people can juggle 9 revenue streams or whatever, right? Like, it's not really the greatest way to build your empire. Like, you want to focus in on one, and so they need to figure out why you do yours instead of trying to do branded UGC content or brand sponsorships. Yeah, you're actually trying to shortcut them from that. And a lot of those small creators who have really good loyal audiences don't get very good brand deals, and so actually creating their own library of content and selling their own thing the way that you guys can enable is a much better way to monetize their brand than doing shitty brand spots. You know, because like, they'll get $1,200 maybe once a month. You can't live on that. But they've got these super engaged audiences who actually will buy their shit or buy their content or buy their things. So there's an ignorance, they don't know how or where it comes from or what's the solution, but also like their pain point, their enemy is like, I have this massive attention and no one's helping me make money out of it. You know?
Yeah, like that for me is almost that like single-minded purpose, is like answering that question all the customers is exactly that. It's like, I have the opportunity, I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah. And it ties right really well into your SMP, right? Because you're now unlocking their creative potential, because it's a virtuous cycle. If you get paid a bit as a creator to then make more content, your content gets better. You know, it's the same in the art world. Like, and then you can get paid more, so you can spend more time developing it. Then it gets better, and you can sell it for more, and then it gets better, and you can sell it for more, and then boom, 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 and now you can't be lame and you're rich as fuck. You know. But it's kind of the thing, right? Like an actor who gets washed up is because they stop getting paid, and then they can't perfect their craft anymore, which means they can't get back into the game. They're not getting offered any more gigs. It's the same with like social media creators. Like, you go hard for a bit and you try it and you give it a real good crack, but if you're not monetizing it and you can't sustain your lifestyle, oh well, fuck, I'll go back to working. I was with just to finish on, I did an interview with a guy called Masbo Q. Some of you might know. He's a hip hop. They call him the hip hop scientist on TikTok and Instagram. Anyway, he's a young kid from Manadura. He's 35. But he's blown up. He teaches hip hop, the music theory around hip hop. He's fucking cool. But he's 7 years into his journey, and last year was when it really took off for him, late last year. So he was 6 years in at 34 going, fuck. His wife's like, okay, like, you haven't been working for a year, like, fuck, we might need to give this up, you know, because he had not really much income coming in. He used to work for Serato as an engineer, so like, he was on good money before he quit. Like, he was doing all right for himself, and then he quit to try to do this thing. And then it hit Berkeley. Someone posted his content on Twitter. Berkeley reached out saying, can you come teach this music theory over at Berkeley for a guest lecture? Paid him all his money, flew him to Berkeley. Harvard's like, well, while you're here, while you're in Boston, come to Harvard. And now he's next week, or I think now, he's on tour now, going around US universities teaching hip hop music theory. He's got like Lupe Fiasco following him and all these other fucking massive rappers going, this guy's the man. But if he had given up because he couldn't afford money, none of this would have happened, right? And so you guys are going, look, no, here, this is the ticket to at least get you to next year. And then next year will get you to the year after and year after. And so now you can unlock this creative potential that he now has, because he was about to give it all up. He would have given up music, hip hop, everything, and gone back to being an engineer because he couldn't sustain his life. So yeah, there's an ignorance piece, and then there's like this unlocking potential piece. I think that's really good. Like, the enemy of like giving up, like throwing away my talent. You know how many like it's like, you know, it's like us. It's like, oh bro, I could have played All Blacks. Like I was the man in high school. I used to play with Kieran Reid. He was on my team. Yeah, I used to play with Kieran Reid. I was like, bro, hey, cool. You know, it's like I could have been an All Black. It's like, no, you couldn't have. You didn't have the means to continue progressing through that system that you needed to progress through. We came from a poor neighborhood. We had to like go get work or figure shit out. You couldn't progress through this process that you needed, and so our potential was lost. You know, so it's a similar concept and the same thing. I think it's strong. I think it's a good one.
That's good.
Okay.
Hang on one sec. Can we please have a chocolate bar called Beige Cowboys?
Beige Cowboys.
Or actually, Norman Dawes is another one I thought might be quite good. Norman Dawes chocolate. We'll love it. All right, thanks, team.
That was really good. Thank you so much. Yeah, like I said, remember what your enemy is. We'll send out the single minded propositions as well. Yeah, we'll send all the stuff.
I'll put them on the chat.
And then next week we'll start to flesh that out into campaign level. Awesome, guys.
Thanks, team. Love it.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you, gentlemen.
Bye.